Okay, you guys, what is up? The King of Lightning is here today to do Toriko chapter 236 review. Now, this week's chapter Toriko is mainly the progression of the fight between Toriko versus Starjun. And this fight has gotten to the point where, now they're in full series mode, especially Starjun. Because Starjun has just started doing the fire stuff. And he's looking mighty beastly. He's looking mighty beastly. No joke. No joke. Especially when he took out that fire sword. He was like, yeah, fire. And then all the knives and forks around Starjun were instantly melted away, vaporized. I'm like, yeah. Starjun, man. Love this guy. But before I get started with that, because again, that is the main focus of the entire chapter, their fight. Which is, by the way, progressing very smoothly. There's other things here and there that must be mentioned. So the first thing, aside from the fight, the first thing that must be mentioned, Mansum is back on his feet. After he took, I don't know what the hell Shigematsu had. But it was some crazy, obviously some gourmet world status, ridiculous scorpion snake, and it stabbed his tongue right through Mansum's body. And Mansum is back on his feet, and it appears that he's going to engage in combat against Shigematsu. And he told Shigematsu that the only person I can lose to is the IGO president. By the way, you got any booze? So it appears that Mansum is back on his feet, ready to do his thing. Yeah. And I like it. I like it a lot, because Mansum, he's pretty much been a cool character. Funny most of the time, comic relief. But when he fights, yeah, Mansum is fucking beast. And hopefully we see some combat go on between these two. However, I doubt it, because, again, the main focus right now is the Starjun Toriko fight. So even though Mansum's back on his feet, and it's real cool to see him back on his feet, I highly doubt that we're going to see any fight progression between Shigematsu and Mansum. But the end result should be Mansum losing, or even dying. That's my take on that. Because Shigematsu, he's good to go. He's in full energy. And he's let's go. And Mansum has been fighting GT robots for the fucking, ever since they invaded. He's been fighting against GT robots. So it's Mansum, I don't think can right now fight. I don't think he can beat Shigematsu at all. Shigematsu, he was the vice president of the IGO. So, again, I don't see it happening. However, if Mansum does pull an upset, that will be interesting to see. But I don't see it happening at all. I just don't. Now, the next thing is that we see a few cutscenes or a few panels here and there of what's going on in other places. We see a panel of Zebra. He's taking on more Nitro. So, I mean, I think they shouldn't be the same ones that he took out earlier, because those three got fucked up. But I believe they're more Nitro. And Zebra, he's still fucking up. He's still fucking these Nitro up. They're covered in blood. He's not even scarred. He's not even wounded. It's just Zebra doing Zebra, just beat punches all day long. We see a panel of Setsuno. And from that panel, it appears that Zazus and the Grimmy Hermit are still in fighting condition. But Kuribo's on his ass, literally. So Kuribo may be down. He may be down. Listen, you're fucking with National Treasure Setsuno. And she's pissed. That's not a good sign. We all know that. So it appears, again, the fact of the matter remains that even though, when it comes to Zebra fighting against the Nitro, we see how it's all going to pan out against him versus the Nitro. And that is Zebra slaughtering the Nitro. And Setsuno against Zazus, Kuribo, and the Grimmy Hermit is actually a pretty cool fight on paper. But again, we're not really seeing the fight itself. And it makes sense because the priority fight right now is fight against the main character, Toriko versus Starjun. However, I still like to see more of their fight. We saw a few things here and there, but now Kribo appears to be on his ass, and we missed that. So, unfortunately, that's, you know, we didn't get to see that. However, it's still nice to know that those fights are still progressing. All right, they're still going in a nice chronological order. We see a few scenes of the chef. We see Chiru. We see Milk at some point. They're not really, I mean, like, they're just wounded. Obviously, they're doing stuff, right? And then we get to see a panel that pissed me off. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not happy with this panel. We see the hole that Grimpatch made when Coco was fighting against Grimpatch, right? And then all of a sudden we see a hand and Grimpatch comes up. And then he's severely wounded, but he still has like this face of like pure ecstasy, like yeah, like he's like yeah. So again, like my only problem with that, well, you know, my big problem with that is the fact that we're missing fights. Okay, like the best fight so far has been Sunny versus Tommy Rock, and that's because of the fact that we saw the entire fight from beginning to end, and that shit was insane. After that is obviously Tengu Brunchy versus L, and then every other fight has been, in regards to those fights, mediocre. So my thing about it right now is that, okay, so we've clearly missed a significant portion of this fight between Coco and Grimpatch. I mean, is Coco down? Is Coco down? I highly doubt it. But the thing about it is that we've missed a significant portion of that fight already. So if Coco does, like, because Grimpatch, he just got out of the hole. Maybe Coco's gonna come out of the hole and like he's gonna hunt him down and shit. We don't know. But the fact of the matter remains that we've missed a significant portion of that fight. And I'm not happy with that at all. So that's like the one negative, like that's the one real negative thing about this week's chapter of Toriko. And unfortunately, the way it is now is that the only fight that I feel at this point in time that can be the equivalent of the Sunny and Tamiyar fight is a Toriko and Starjun fight. In the case of Coco, I don't see happening. Unless Zebra has a, you know, an opponent that's up to snuff against fucking Zebra. And I don't see happening right now. I mean, Zebra at some point, he may go help out someone else in someone else's fight. Like, he may go help out Mansub against Shigematsu, maybe, I don't know. But the thing about it is, and I highly doubt that, but the thing about it is that Coco, his fight against Grimpatch, it's to the point where I don't see it be on the same level as Elg and Tengu Brunch. Because, again, a lot of it has seemed to be skipped. So, but we'll see, because that's my speculation. We'll see where Mitsutoshi goes with this. We'll see. And then, like, the last scene aside from the fight against Toriko and Starjun is we see, and I don't know what's going on, alright? But it's like there's some castle in some forest. And then there's some dude watching a bunch of monitors. This old, like, dude, because we can see from the silhouette where it's like an old person with like a cane. And he's watching it, and he's watching what's going on in the cooking island from the position of the GT robots. However, from the dialogue, it appears that this person is not a part of the Bushukyukai. And from my, I want to say that this person is a part of Neo. Like, that's what I'm assuming. But like this person, because this person says, I confirmed through the videos from the Bushukyukai side's GT robos. So I'm gonna say that, okay, so like this person, and he's talking to someone. We don't know who he's talking to. But basically, the end of the story here is that this old silhouetted figure, he talks about how we procured a lot of chefs. And then the person says, well, we need to secure a certain chef. And then the old guy says, which chef is that? And then the next panel we see, basically, I think it was like Komatsu. Like we saw Komatsu, and Komatsu's looking at Toriko and Starjun facing off. So the hint here is that this certain certain chef, that this person, that this old dude, who I believe is affiliated with Neo, are gunning for is Komatsu. Since Komatsu is a very unique chef, Komatsu still has that book that has like the nitro, that has like the nitro cookbook that he got in the Gourmet Pyramid. He still has that. So I'm thinking that, you know, that's gonna be important later on in the story, but maybe when they get to the Gourmet world, but not now. Either way, fact remains is that I think the priority chef at this point in time, it could be either Komatsu or it could be Setsuna. So, because there's no other chef that is that prestige. I mean, Setsuno's prestigious as fuck, but Komatsu is just, he's very unique even amongst the high caliber chefs, obviously. So, I'm thinking either Komatsu or Setsuna. Probably Komatsu. And that's everything that goes aside from the fight itself. Aside from the main fight of the chapter. And overall, again, so we have pretty good parts. We have one bad part, which again, in my personal opinion, is the Grim Patch thing. So overall, that's relatively okay. And when it comes to the fight against Toriko versus Starjun, yo. Fork Kugi. Fork Kugi that he can control. Yeah! He's like, Fork Kugi! And then Starjun dodged that shit. He's like, no! That was nice. So, the whole entire thing about this fight is that now these two are going to go at it. Because they've been going at it. But now they're going to go to like the maximum potential that they can. Because Toriko has already engraved the image of him beating Starjun. And thus he has, I'm going to say, completed his ultimate routine. It is already set in motion. And Starjun knows that he has the image. In fact, Starjun was talking to Toriko about how he could hear, because Toriko, he does that thing when he rubs his hands with like the whole entire fork and the knife, where he rubs his hands, and the image and the impression of that sound, Starjun felt and he saw, but he didn't. But Toriko never did that impression. He never did it. The impression was there, but he never actually did it. And so Starjun actually says to Toriko that, you know, it seems that we cannot have an honest fight. Alright, because now emotionally and psychologically, now they're on the same level. And this has, of course, enhanced Toriko's capabilities because of the ultimate routine. And Starjun, he now knows this, and now he's like, yeah, so now we're going to go all out. And what winds up happening, as a result, is that when they recommence the fight, after like a little standoff, Toriko does a fork Kugi punch. A fork Kugi fucking punch. And like pre-hand, he sees the image of that fork Kugi going right through Starjun's gut and killing Starjun. So he does the fork Kugi. Starjun dodges. He's like, yeah, smooth. And then he dodged that shit, right? And then Toriko's like, no, fuck that shit, turn. Yeah, hook. And the fork hooks. And Starjun defends with his Hitate, his fire shield. And he goes like, yeah, like on some Portugal's DA shit, like, yeah. And he does a firewall. Actually, no, yeah, like a small little firewall. And it melts the iron on the spot. And then Toriko explains how, well, that fire must be damn hot. Like, because he says that his fork is as hard as iron. And that means that the fire that he just produced with that Hitate must be at least, or it cannot be beneath, 2,800 degrees Celsius, which is the burning point of iron, which is the melting point of iron, excuse me. So, you're like, yeah, okay. But then Toriko's like, well, how can you handle this? And then all of a sudden, it's like Starjun. He looks around, and there is like a fleet of forks and knives all around this dude. Like, yeah, fork and knife, man. That's the way it is. And Starjun, mad cool, mad suave. He just takes out a fucking sword. He's like, yeah. And there's like a freaking wave of fire. And all the forks and knives that were surrounding him while he was on this plate, gone. Vaporized. Just gone. So, you're thinking like, yo, Stars, yeah, it's crazy, yeah. That shit was hot. because it's just a black panel of like and you see all these forks and knives, and Toriko, you know, like he says something along the lines of like I've already formed the image, Starjun. All right, it's over, you're dead. And then all these forks and knives start assaulting Starjun, and before they can even touch him, mad cool, mad stoic, just casually, and then it's like a wave of fire, and all the forks and knives are disintegrating. And then Starjun, he's looking at Toriko, and then he's like, "Just what sort of image did you see?" I'm like, "Yo, he's serious. He's like, fuck you, man. Like, the fuck." So, yeah, gone, just gone. So that was nice, man. That was a nice ass panel. That was a nice ass panel, man. The way it was drawn, the back, like the black background, the fire, just mad. It wasn't like it was sacred or like spiritual. It just looked fucking nice, just like and like the way it was drawn too, where like if you really look at the panel, right, it's like he's swinging his sword, and then like the immediate background around Starjun is white, and then like the sword swing is actually white. And then there's actual fire, like fire burst here all over this darkness that surrounds the actual inner white. It's very nice. It's very well drawn. I like that. That was beautiful. It was like, yeah, all about stoic, calm. Like, yeah, nothing. I'm Starjun. This is what I do. So the fight has clearly taken the next level up, because Toriko, he's now combining. He's now doing crazy. Toriko's doing some pretty nice shit, like pure on assaults of forks and knives, and then he's combining actual techniques together. The Kugi fork. There may be a nail knife. A nail gun knife. I don't fucking know. Shit. I don't know. But Starjun has now dished out the fire stuff, and we already knew he could do it ever since he came in the cooking feast, and he burned down that big ass tent in the middle of the stadium. So, shit's getting real now. Shit's getting real. And I like that. So, the fight progression overall, that to me was pretty damn great. It was great. So, we have okay overall when it comes to everything aside from the actual fight itself. And then, when it comes to the actual fight itself, it's progressing at a very nice rate. And so, we have one great, we have okay. So, chapter overall, it's a good. The chapter overall, it's a good chapter of Toriko. And I'll leave it at that. So, King Lion, be sure, of course, to rate, comment, and subscribe as always. Peace. Have a nice day.